Hello, I'm Erica Crone Minchella. For the past 35 years, I've been practicing in consumer law and most recently helping people who are handling distressed real estate. I'm going to talk to you today about helping your clients with solutions for dealing with their distressed real estate. The solutions you'll want to look at for a client who has distressed real estate are going to vary depending on what the circumstances are for the client. You may want to use one solution or a combination of solutions depending on the circumstances. There are about 9 solutions I can suggest that you look at. Defend the foreclosure, look at a modification, look at a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, look at a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, either to bring payments current or to cram down a second mortgage or other subordinate liens to be unsecured, a possibility for a short sale, a deed in lieu of foreclosure, a conventional sale, just selling the property if there's equity in it, or a consent foreclosure, which will allow you to get rid of the foreclosure without there being any debt. Each solution that you look at should be looked at individually and in combination depending on the solution that you're looking for ultimately to get for your client. When the client comes seeking your advice, what you want to do is look at what circumstances they're in at that moment. Are they in foreclosure? Are there changes in their circumstances? They're going through a divorce, or a child is coming, or family members are moving in with them. Are there going to be changes in income? Are there going to be medical problems that need to be addressed, medical bills that are going to need to be addressed? Are there going to be problems with marriage? Are there problems that are going to need to be addressed on a long-term basis or a short-term basis? Knowing those things will help you understand what solutions you should be looking for. As far as the end result, what you want to make sure you're paying attention to is what's going to happen with your client's credit, with their living circumstances, with their tax implications, and with the debt that they are going to need to deal with. Knowing those things will help you help them come to a solution on what they need to be doing. You should understand that if the choice you're making is to defend the foreclosure, the likelihood is that ultimately the client will wind up with a judgment of foreclosure against them. There aren't a lot of defenses. There may be some very strong positions that you can take, but ultimately they may wind up with a judgment against them, which is why you need to look at other solutions other than just defending the foreclosure. For instance, a bankruptcy at the beginning of the foreclosure may help you stop worrying about a debt at the end of the foreclosure. It also may allow the homeowner to accumulate some wealth, some money that they are able to put aside because they're not making mortgage payments, so that they ultimately can have the money to move forward in a rental or a new home because they'll have some finances available. If you do a bankruptcy at the end of the defense of a foreclosure, you won't have that option because they won't be able to accumulate wealth, or that wealth will be included in their bankruptcy estate. If the clients are behind on their mortgage payments and want to keep the house, if that's the ultimate goal, then you should be looking at a modification or a Chapter 13, unless there's some money that's going to suddenly become available to the homeowner in order to be able to solve the problem. If there is some ability to get refinancing, or there is family money, family support, other ways of getting the income in order to bring mortgage payments current. Otherwise, the best solution is either to look at whether they would qualify for a modification or look at what a Chapter 13 will allow them to do. A Chapter 13 will allow them to bring mortgage payments current over about a 60-month period, which will require that they pay their current mortgage payments at the same time that they're bringing mortgage payments current. That may not be a great solution if the property is severely underwater and there's no way that they will ever create any equity in the property. That should be one of the considerations you have. Are they just renting from the bank, or are they actually moving forward and being able to get some equity and get some security with their property? Another solution that I've used for clients is short selling the property, paying the bank less than what they're owed on their mortgage while all the other obligations of a closing are paid. The broker's commission, the transfer stamps, attorney's fees, title. The bank takes the hit and is reducing their debt in order to be able to allow the property to get sold. Very often it's a good solution for the bank because they don't have to take over the property, get it cleaned out, and pay the costs of maintaining that property while they're also trying to get it sold. The problem with a short sale now is that as of December 31st, 2016, the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Act has concluded, and so the forgiveness of debt on the mortgage that the lender is giving may be taxable. It won't be if the homeowner is insolvent at the time that they get the debt forgiveness. So you really need to be considering that at the time that you are advising a client that a short sale may be a good solution. A short sale in combination with a bankruptcy may be a great solution. There's no debt, there's no tax obligation, and there's no foreclosure. So in terms of credit, they won't have both a foreclosure and a bankruptcy on their credit rating. It's not going to be a great rating, but it will be able to be repairable because they haven't shown two different types of delinquency. When you're looking at solutions for a client, if there is equity in the property, don't ignore the possibility of a conventional transaction and letting the client preserve their equity. The longer they're in foreclosure, the longer they're looking for solutions, even if they would really like to hold on to the property, the more equity is being eaten up in the delay of selling the property. Very often, the equity that's in the property can be used as a down payment or for a full payment on a new property, and life will move on. Sometimes it's difficult to convince clients that that's the best solution, but that's your job. To look for the solutions that will best serve your client and their ultimate goals. If none of the other solutions that you have tried to get for your client is working, and it looks like ultimately there will be a judgment against them, you may want to look at getting a consent foreclosure from the lender. What happens in a consent foreclosure is that the lender will forgive the debt that remains against the property, the difference between what the property is worth and what they can sell the property for, so that there's no liability, there's no need for a bankruptcy, there's no creditor who will be coming back to your client years later trying to collect on the debt. The judgment of foreclosure is entered, the deed is issued to the lender, and they're able to then go and market the property. This way your client doesn't have debt. They do have a foreclosure on their record, but they may not need a bankruptcy. It's one of the last solutions I look at for a client, but it's a solution I will look at in order to assure that they can move on with their lives. To learn more about the benefits of joining our ISBA real estate section, check the ISBA website. Thanks for watching.